Hello, everyone. My name is Waleed, and I want to welcome you to my channel. I want to thank you for taking a little bit of your time to spend some time with me. I hope that you will like this video. I hope you will subscribe to my channel, and I hope that you will watch this video to the end. Um, uh, a little bit about myself. I I own a couple of homes throughout the Caribbean, Jamaica, um, St. Lucia, and I like to share videos and react to videos and share content with you that is related to St. Lucia or Jamaica or the Caribbean. And today I want to react to this video about beach beach access or lack of beach access in Jamaica for the locals. So let's let's get into this video.
We should be able to use our beaches. We are a beach community. We are beach people. We're a small island surrounded by water.
Jamaicans can no longer access their own beaches.
This is where they work. Say they don't have a other job. They don't have nothing else to turn to.
Tourists can pay for exclusive access to beaches at all-inclusive resorts, but everyday Jamaicans are increasingly being blocked out of them.
When you push a fisherman from a beach, where did you want him to go? We are living in between waters, and we have no access to a beach.
Some Jamaicans are organizing to take down the colonial-era land laws that still affect them today.
Jamaican came into emancipation landless and homeless, and that problem have not changed in Jamaica.
And they're suing companies for cutting off their access to the beaches.
And we also will not stop until the entire Jamaican public is able to access the beach freely. Tourists.
One of the things that I must say is that it was really surprising to me to learn that the local people in Jamaica don't have access to their own beaches. It's really messed up to me, and I feel like in a lot of ways the Jamaican government has sold the people out, because there should be laws that make the beaches accessible to the local people. It doesn't make sense that everybody can come in from all over the world and enjoy the beaches on the resorts, and these big resorts can come in and enjoy the beaches and put up fences and tell local people who live there, who were born there, that they can't use the beaches. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And the government should be doing everything to make sure that the Jamaican people are benefiting from the land and the beaches and the resources. And I think it's really messed up, for myself as an American. When I come to Jamaica, it, I don't understand why I seem to have more access to the beaches, and I can enjoy the beaches, but I know for a lot of locals, the beaches is not just a means of enjoyment, is also a source of income for a lot of people. I don't rely on the beaches for income, but I know a lot of locals do, and it's messed up that a lot of Jamaicans are displaced from that source of income, whether they're people who are fishermen, whether they are people who sell souvenirs and homemade goods and crafts and arts, or whatever they want to sell at the beaches. They can't do that. Whether it's a person who sells jet ski rides, all these people are losing their income. That source of income on the beaches is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And I feel like, I, as an American, when I come to Jamaica, I contribute to the economy. I contribute to uh, you know I employ a lot of people here. I give them, a lot of people can work for me and they have jobs that are paying them much better than they would if they were working at a resort. And I think that's important to have more people coming to Jamaica that's going to benefit the country, not people that's going to just come to Jamaica and take the resources and deny the people their own resources. And just, it's a messed up situation. It's really unfortunate.
I get beach, rich people I get beach. When all come and buy, we have to buy access to the beach. That can't continue.
This is Steertown, a historic fishing community on the north coast of Jamaica. Local residents relied on the beach for their livelihood. But in 2020, two companies bought the land containing the pathways leading to Malmö Bay Beach.
Discrimination, apartheid thing, we're tired of that. That must end.
The owners built a cement wall along the property, effectively cutting off surrounding communities from the coast. Lifelong fisherman Norris Arscott lives up the hill in one of these communities. Both his father and grandfather before him worked as fishermen at the same beach that he did.
All right, that's the hotel here, and the beach is just right beside the hotel there. It doesn't take me more than like 8-10 minutes from here to the beach. Now they push me off there. I had to do 10 miles each morning to do my fishing work.
To access the new fishing beach, Norris is forced to bike at 4:30 in the morning along a busy highway.
The entire St. Ann to St. Mary is blocked out from we, the fishermen. We've been paying taxes down there.
One of the companies announced a plan to build a 250-room resort on the land in front of Malmö Bay Beach. It will sit beside two all-inclusive resorts that already block access to the coastline.
Here they don't have fences. They got mountains of concrete wall. You can see that.
According to a local advocacy group's calculations, less than 1% of Jamaica's coastline is accessible to the public.
Me, personally, have no access to another beach. So we had no choice than to go where they push us. Me been occupying that beach.
One of the things that I can tell you is that in St. Lucia, where I also own homes, in St. Vincent, where I used to own a home, the beaches are public. The beaches are easily accessible to the public. The public does, in all cases, if there's a resort or businesses that are using the beach, they're sharing it with the locals. The locals are sharing the beaches with the tourists who are staying at these resorts and high-end hotels. They're not denied access. And I don't understand why same can't be done in Jamaica. The resorts and hotels can share the beach with the locals, and the locals shouldn't be denied. It's crazy.
70 years. Those beaches was like our playground. The culture was all togetherness. All fishermen, all children, everybody was together.
Even at 70 years old, Norris still relies on his income from fishing. When weather conditions are optimal, he can make a bit more than Jamaica's minimum wage.
Sometimes I catch just about 4 or 5 pounds. It depends on the weather out there, 4 pounds of fish would be like for $4,000. So I go every day as long as the sea is good. What else to do? There's nothing else.
Minimum wage in the country is approximately $85 per week. In comparison, the two all-inclusive resorts that operate on Malmö Bay Beach can cost hundreds of dollars per person per night. Fisherfolk like Norris often don't see the benefits of those tourism dollars.
I earn more money if I was fishing here. But what happened, I had to be going and coming to and from St. Anne's Bay to here to make $1. It's a far, tall journey to do from here at 70 years of age. They are pushing us back. This colonial system is coming right.
Please consider liking and subscribing, and I hope also, as a result of watching my videos, that you would at some point, if you're traveling to Jamaica, or if you're traveling to St. Lucia, that you would consider staying at one of my properties. I'll definitely post videos in the future about my properties in St. Lucia and in Jamaica. And I hope you contact me if you are considering traveling to one of those destinations. I hope you reach out and find out more about my places. Yeah, thank you.
Back at us. I'm sitting and I'm tired. I've been in this kind of life with these people called politicians. Majority of them is no good in Jamaica.
There are approximately 74 public beaches on the island, but many of them are in disrepair, charge daily use fees, or are difficult to access without a vehicle. Damien Combs lives in Steertown, down the road from Norris. Since the beach's access was blocked, he has seen his neighbors lose their entire source of income.
So we're looking here at jet skis which have been parked, so to speak. Some of them are broken, some of them have damaged engines. They would sell rides to tourists or sell rides to locals. Jet skis put food on the table. The thing that the government will tell you, and these hotels, that they create jobs. They create jobs, but what kind of jobs? You're actually working in a hotel which you will never ever be able to afford. You have all your independent people that did their own independent work and created their jobs that have lost those jobs. There are people that sell t-shirts, they're the fisher folk. Beach closing basically cancelled all those jobs.
A grassroots organization called Jabem has started organizing communities like Damien's to fight for beach access. Jabem helps communities with advocacy, including organizing this protest and getting beach access rights cases into the courts.
They take our ancestors from Africa and encamp us around here. They give us Jamaican nationality. But yes, they look like they're giving us piecemeal. Because they're going to tell us that we can't go over there. And up here, we are here to repeal a draconian law passed during the colonial era that says that we, as Jamaica, don't have any rights to access our God-given beach or environment.
Jamaica gained independence from the UK in 1962, but many laws from colonial rule remain intact, including one called the Beach Control Act of 19.
This is one of the things that is really confusing to me, and maybe someone could comment and enlighten me about this particular situation. But one of the things that I am not so clear on is that I do understand that Jamaica gained its independence in the 1960s, but to me, it doesn't seem like Jamaica is really independent, because Jamaica still seems to be under the knee of the Europeans. You know, all of the Jamaican currency that I see seems to be under the well, not the currency, but like the court systems. The court systems and a lot of the lawmaking and a lot of the rules and regulations is done by the Europeans. From what I understand, the highest courts for Jamaicans, they have to go to Europe, and that doesn't make any sense, and I think if the Jamaicans are going to get further ahead and improve, I think that they are going to have to find a way to completely sever their ties with the Europeans and have their own court systems and really take control over their laws and their regulations and how they handle policies. But, otherwise, they're not going to be able to make the real progress that they need to make as long as Europeans have a chokehold on them. But maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm getting this wrong. Please comment on that. Thank you.
1956. The law states that the British Crown maintains all rights to the foreshore, and that the public has no inherent rights to access it. While the monarchy no longer governs, this law is still the primary beach access policy on the island, so legally, Jamaicans are still not guaranteed the right to access the beach. In other Caribbean countries like Barbados and Aruba,
See, let me listen to that again, because this kind of speaks to exactly what I was talking about. The Europeans don't govern anymore, but let's hear that again. What did I do?
provided British colonialism. Jamaica was a center of the Caribbean slave trade. The British government granted enslaved Africans emancipation in 1830.
Sorry, I kind of lost my space in that video. Let me get back to it.
Black Jamaicans still face systemic inequality
by our government.
Jamaica gained independence from the UK in 1962, but many laws from colonial rule remain intact, including one called the Beach Control Act of 1956. The law states that the British Crown maintains all rights to the foreshore, and that the public has no inherent rights to access it. While the monarchy no longer governs, this law is still the primary beach access policy on the island, so legally, Jamaicans are still not guaranteed the right to access the beach. In other Caribbean countries like Barbados and Aruba, all beaches are considered public property.
And we have a slogan in Jamaica.
And that's what I don't understand. You know, this is the point that I was making before. On one hand, the Europeans don't rule Jamaica anymore, but they still have control over the shores and over the land. What sense does that make? Doesn't make any sense at all. And as I mentioned, in other Caribbean countries, they mentioned Barbados and a couple of other places. But I know in most Caribbean countries that I've been to, Saint Vincent, Saint Lucia, Barbados, and quite a few other places, the beaches were public. The locals had access to the beaches. They shared the beaches with the resorts and hotels and the tourists.
One love. But where is the one love for the Jamaicans? By our government.
Devin Taylor is the president of JABEM, or the Jamaica Beach Birthright Environmental Movement. He started the organization in 2022 after his hometown was cut off from the shoreline.
We want the decolonization of this land. And all these colonial era laws must go. They no longer represent the ideals of the descendants of enslaved Africans.
Black Jamaicans still face systemic inequalities rooted in British colonialism. Jamaica was a center of the Caribbean slave trade. The British government granted enslaved Africans emancipation in 1838, but they didn't receive any reparations or land. Instead, it was slave owners who were provided reparations for their economic loss. Voting rights were originally tied to property ownership, and so landless Jamaicans couldn't vote until 1944. It's estimated that nearly 20% of the country's population still lives in informal settlements without land titles.
The moneyed class buy all the properties along the coastline. They're allowed to fence their property. Now we're in a crisis situation. It's what? Easily 35, 40 degrees today. My community that lives across from the road, less than 0.3 miles, cannot go to the beach. Tourist is monopolized. Comes off a plane, get into a bus, get onto a resort, never leave the resort. So money that would have spent in communities, no longer. It stays into multinational corporation that then leaves Jamaica.
That's another really important point right there. And one of the things that always concerned me is when I travel to different countries, uh, is how I contribute to that country. And I do know that when I stay in a resort or a hotel, that the locals and the local economy is not necessarily benefiting. So I've gone to different countries and I've stayed in resorts and hotels, and I've gone to and I've been to Jamaica and I've stayed in resorts and hotels. I've been to Jamaica and I've stayed with uh, friends. I've gone to Jamaica and I've stayed in Airbnbs. And now when I'm in Jamaica, I have my own place. I have my own villas, and I'm contributing to the economy because I employ people, and tourists come to my home, and they spend money with me, and I feel like I am more of a beneficial contributor to Jamaica because the people who work for me, they get uh, paid better than they would if they were at a resort or hotel, and I know that they are treated better, and uh, I know that when I go to uh, a resort or hotel when I'm traveling, that uh, all of the money that I'm spending in the resort or hotel is staying with the resort or hotel, and most of the resources that resort or hotel is accumulating is going to go back to whatever country it is that owns that resort or hotel. Um, yeah, I think that's such um, a crazy situation. Yeah.
The Caribbean is the most tourism dependent region in the world. But according to the UN, approximately 80% of all tourism dollars spent in the Caribbean end up leaving the region. This has been experienced firsthand by Shaneka Taylor, who sells souvenirs and food on the beach of one of these resorts at Cooper's Pen.
Yesterday, there are 26 of them in the group. Yesterday, they take them out to shop outside of the hotel. They spent over $1,000 getting t-shirts, clothing. So they said that they did not know about us here on the beach. They don't tell the tourists about us because the hotel have their own gift shops.
Shaneka and her fellow vendors set up makeshift stalls in front of the construction site of a new resort. But once the resort is built, they will likely have nowhere to sell.
And another thing about staying in the resorts and the hotels is, in my opinion, my own personal experience with staying in the resort or hotel, is that you really can come to a country and spend your whole time on a resort, or if you spend your whole time on a resort, you never really encounter the authentic country. The resort uh, may create its own atmosphere and its own little culture and its own little experience that has nothing to do with the country. And unless a tourist is really out there interacting with locals, or going to a local supermarket, or sitting down in a local restaurant, shopping, and driving around. Unless if they're not doing that, they're really not experiencing the country. And um, I know that a lot of times Jamaica has gotten a bad reputation, and a lot of times tourists coming from different parts of the world, whether it's the U.S. or Canada or Europe or Australia, uh, tourists coming to Jamaica are advised to stay on the resort don't go around the streets. Don't walk around the streets. Don't go too far. Away from the resorts. It's not safe. You'll be mugged. You'll be killed. You'll be raped. You'll be robbed. And it's just not like that. I will say that you have to, if you're going into certain places, you have to be aware of your surroundings. And if you understand where your surroundings, or where you happen to be, there's some places that are a lot more relaxed and a lot more tourist friendly and safer. There are some places where you really just have to look over your shoulder a little bit more and just be aware of your surroundings. But I do know that people are encouraged not to walk around, and that, I think, is part of what hurts the economy, because all those locals who have little shops, or the people who are selling little products, and they're not going to get that foot traffic, and they're not going to get the kind of business that they need to have. They're not going to see the tourists and get any of the tourist dollars, because the tourists aren't encouraged to do anything local. So
Construction already cut off local fisher folks' access to the beach.
After the hotel is finished, I'm not sure what is going to take place. So we're going to have to move, and we don't know where to. We don't have a spot to put up our shops. We don't have nothing. So this is how we're going to have to pull down.
The tourism industry makes up approximately 20% of the country's GDP. But the Minister of Tourism has also acknowledged that the sector is known for low-paid, low-skilled jobs that provide little economic security. Access to tourists is often limited for Jamaicans like Shaneka, who sell food and souvenirs to make a living.
So the rules are 2 persons on the beach at a time, 20 minutes apiece. We're not supposed to go to the tourists where they're sitting. We have to stay at a distance. We have to call them to come to us. And sometimes they tell us, like, we have to go in the water to walk. Makes us feel sad sometimes, because we are not going to harm the guests. We're not going to do anything that's not right. But the good thing is that they allow us to walk, so we kind of appreciate that.
Many of the other vendors at Cooper's Pen used to sell their products from a shopping village. They say they have been forced to move numerous times since construction began on the resort. While they all rely on their income from selling to tourists, the conditions they face to do so continue to get worse. There's no longer a direct path to the beach, so they trek through mangroves to get there.
So this is our path, this is where we walk. Sometimes it's rough, because when the rain falls, the water gets high, like about here. It's scary sometimes, because we have to, like...
I think this is just sad that people have to, just to get to a beach or have access to the beach, that they have to, they can only walk in certain places. They can't walk on the beach. They have to walk in the water, or they can only be on the beach, for a certain amount of time, and only in a certain small number of people. I've never seen those kind of restrictions placed on tourists. I've never been treated that way as an American, visiting. And now that I'm more frequently in Jamaica, I just never experienced that, and I can't imagine that the locals have to go through this. It's just crazy. I think that Jamaica and many other Black nations, whether it's Caribbean countries and African countries, they really need to just do better by their people. I think they do so many things that sell the people out, and this is crazy.
Like, step in the water to get onto the beach.
It would be all like there. Swamp, big swamp, It used to be easier and faster to get to the beach. Where the fishermen, they used to access that beach. So it was a public, like, people go there and buy fish. Kids, they come and swim. The elderly people come and take a fresh swim out in the ocean.
We worry because a lot of persons have been here many years, so this is where they get their honest bread from. This is their 9 to 5. So they don't have a other job. They don't have nothing else to turn to.
Jabem is currently helping sue the companies and government agencies that have cut off beach access from communities. It has 3 active cases in the courts and has 17 more it plans to file in the near future. Norris and Damien are plaintiffs in one of these cases.
We are suing to get access to our beaches. We're not trying to tear down the development or tear down the commercialization or the building space.
They built the case around another colonial-era law called the Prescription Act. The law says members of the public can continue access.
See, you know, when I think about this lawsuit that these people have, it's encouraging, but at the same time, when you think about it, the highest courts for Jamaica is in Europe. And if they have to make an argument for Jamaica in a European country, you know, those courts and those lawmakers in Europe are going to most likely rule in ways that's going to benefit them and keep money in their pockets, and they're not going to be motivated to rule in favor of local Jamaicans, and they're not going to be so interested in doing anything that really benefits Jamaicans. So I don't understand that the whole fight is kind of pointless if you have to go to someone else to get permission to have your freedom and to have access to your own beaches. If Jamaica really cut ties with Europe and took control over its own court system and took control over its own lawmaking, it would make sense. But if you don't have control over that, you're always going to be in this type of situation.
A beach if they can prove that they've used it for fishing, bathing, or recreation for 20 years without interruption.
What we're saying is that we've always had access to this beach. Our ancestors access to this beach. We are a beach community. We are beach people. We're a small island surrounded by water. We want the laws to change.
Jabem plans to take the Cooper's Pen beach closure case to court. While vendors aren't explicitly protected under the law like fishermen are, Jabem hopes that winning some of these court cases will lead the way to more permanent beach access rights for all Jamaicans.
We want to change it legislatively. We want it to be constitutionally enshrined that everyone in Jamaica have a general and unfettered rights to use our beaches. It's directly targeted at the black descendants of enslaved Africans. We feel that pain. And we are marginalized in 2023. We need a new model, a new framework, and we're asking for that, and we will not stop until we get that.
Well, that concludes this video. I hope that you got some insight as to what's happening in Jamaica with their beaches and the lack of access for locals. I want to thank you for watching this video to the end. I hope that you will like, and I hope that you will subscribe to my channel, and I hope that you will look out for other videos from me. Yeah. Take care, and thanks for coming.